Joining us now as we get ready for Eagles-Cowboys week. You have to bring Drew Pearson in, the former Cowboy great wide receiver, because I don't know that there's anybody who loves Dallas Eagles week more than Drew as we get ready for another edition of this. First place on the line, Drew Pearson, welcome back to the Sports Bash. How are you?
Hey, thanks for having me. How about them Cowboys?
Yes, it's always great to have you. We know that, many times, I guess we were talking about earlier in the week, like in Dallas, it used to be the Cowboys and the Redskins was kind of like the big deal. But the Redskins haven't been good for so long. Has the Eagles taken over that down there?
Yeah, I think they have. And it's all about, who you're competing with usually for the division title. And as you said, the Redskins haven't been very competitive of late. The Giants are the same thing, and the team that has been there, the obstacle to get over, if you want to win the East, has been the Philadelphia Eagles. So because of that, the rivalry has heightened, taken a new height to another level, and we're ready for this game. Hopefully, coming in, I know been a lot of hype, a lot of talk about the game down this way, whether it's talk radio or the newspaper, social media, whatever it is. So hopefully the team's ready, because our fans certainly are ready to cheer loud and cheer long.
All right, so 3 straight losses. Is there panic down there? Is the coach getting called out a lot? I mean, you lose 3 games in Philly. The coach has got to go. This guy's got to go. You got to go to the backup quarterback. What's it like after 3 losses in Dallas? With the roster, by the way, Drew, you know it. This is a really good team. 3 straight losses has got to be unacceptable, right?
Oh, absolutely. We've been getting all the negative talk, too, down here, wondering what's wrong and talking about firing Jason Garrett and all this kind of stuff. And
don't do it.
Negative talk. Don't do it, right. That's what everybody else is saying. It's Garrett, right? But, he doesn't have the resume, say, Doug Peterson has, because he's won a Super Bowl, and that means a lot as far as your acceptance as a head coach in the league. So there's a lot of negative talk about Jason Garrett, and, but that's nothing new. It's always like that. As soon as we run into some rough spots, the first thing they want to do is get rid of Jason Garrett. And the thing about that is a lot of people talk negative about Garrett, but I've never heard Jerry Jones talk negative about him. And then I've never heard any players that are playing under him or currently playing under him never talk negative about him. So he must be doing something right. I think what started the slide to three straight losses was not so much the opponent. We played the Saints and Green Bay and, of course, the Jets. But I think it was the injuries that go along with the opponents that we're playing. And last week against the Jets, our offensive line was beat up. Cooper was beat up. He couldn't finish the game. Randall Cobb wasn't there. Had injuries in the secondary during the game with Anthony Brown and Byron Jones, and they're questionable for this week. So the injury bug seems to be catching up with the Cowboys, much like it's caught up with a lot of teams in the National Football League. So we're not asking anybody to feel sorry for us or anything like that. We just got to find a way to overcome these injuries and get back on a winning track.
So, Drew, what do they have to do? You looked at Kellen Moore, and he got so much acclaim over the first 3 weeks. The offense averaged about 32 points a game. And I get, even with the injuries, though, I'm sure people had to feel that the loss to the Jets was really disappointing. Now they go play the rival Eagles with the same set of injuries, I think, at the offensive line and Amari Cooper. What is it in your mind as an offense? Put your offensive coordinator cap on. What do the Cowboys have to do to get back to what they were doing earlier?
Well, exactly what they need to do, get back to what they were doing earlier. A lot of times when you have injuries, you start making adjustments. And one thing you're going to make an adjustment with, you're going to adjust the offense to accommodate the new guys that are coming in. Maybe they don't do this play as well as Tyron Smith or that play as well as Lyle Collins. But, you can't take away, if someone's injured, you can't stop or take away what you've been doing, what you've been practicing on, what your identity is, just because you have a few players injured. The players that are replacing the injured players, they need to step up. They need to get up to speed with what we've been doing and see how these guys that they are replacing have performed in their position and go out and try to duplicate that. If we try to change the offense and change our identity at this point, we're making a mistake. And I think that's what we've done, through the course of these injuries. We got a little more conservative. We're not throwing the ball downfield. We're not using the play action pass as much. We're not running the ball effectively, so we're going to change things up a little bit. Defensively, we're not getting to the pass, to the quarterback. We're not getting turnovers and things like that. So if we, improve in those areas, no matter who's playing the game, we'll be okay. But you can't change your offensive system just because you had injuries. Back in the day, if we had a player injured, the next player up, he had to get up to speed with us. We didn't have to get up to speed to what he can bring to the table. So that's where the Cowboys are right now, and hopefully the guys that are questionable at this point, hopefully they'll be able to play by Sunday night.
So, Drew, you just mentioned a lot of areas that are struggling and that you've been looking at on the Dallas Cowboys side of things. But with the Eagles coming to town, what's an area that you're looking at for the Cowboys that scares you a little bit with this matchup? Like, is it the secondary obviously is one with the Cowboys on defense, but what's something that you think that if the Eagles execute, they can really take advantage of and make a long night for Dallas?
Well, defensively, I think we should be most concerned about Carson Wentz. We can't let him get off. We got to put pressure on him. We can't let him be comfortable back there in the pocket. Got to knock him around a little bit. And that's going to be a challenge for our defense. Robert Quinn has been bringing it, from one side of that defensive pass rush. But, DeMarcus Lawrence, he'll give it a great effort and all that, but he hasn't been getting to the quarterback, hasn't been hitting the quarterback or getting sacked. So I think if we do that, try to eliminate Carson Wentz as much as we can and not let him be effective, I think defensively, we'll be okay in controlling the Eagles' offense. Offensively, they're having problems in their secondary. They made Kirk Cousins from Minnesota look like an all-pro quarterback last week, and hopefully we can take advantage of the injuries and the issues that they're having in their defensive secondary and, come out swinging the football, put them to test, see what they can handle us, and then that open things up initially in the game. And you guys know, if you watched what the Cowboys have been doing the last 3 weeks, we've been getting off to slow starts. We've been getting dominated in the first half of games, and hopefully we won't do that this time around. We'll get off to a fast start, and one way to do that is start attacking that Eagles secondary, give us confidence early in the football game that we can do that throughout the football game. So defensively, put some pressure on Carson Wentz and try to take him out of the game. Offensively, try to attack that defensive secondary that's been having so many injuries. And then also be ready to block that blitz because Jim Schwartz is going to bring the blitz.
Well, you mentioned take the under in the first quarter. The Eagles have scored 24 first-quarter points. They've been shut out 4 times. The Cowboys are worse. They've only scored 20 points, including 3 during this 3-game losing skid. So that's something to watch here. How different is the offense, Drew? You were a great wideout without their great wideout, Amari Cooper.
Very different, just him, it's kind of like when I broke the huddle. Everybody's going to find out where Drew Pearson is, where's number 88, and then I'm going to draw that double coverage. And same thing with Amari Cooper. When he breaks that huddle, everybody's concerned where he's lined up. And the reason they're concerned is because he's the deep threat in the Cowboy offense. And if we can't stretch the defense with him and put pressure on the defense with them maybe expecting or anticipating him to go deep, then that clogs things up underneath. And I think that's what our problem was. We, trying to complete passes in short areas. I think Dak has been averaging 7 yards of completion or something, come down from 11 or 12 yards completion from his first 3 games. And a lot of that is because Cooper has been hurt, banged up a little bit, and can't stretch the defense. He is our deep threat. And if he's not out there, then defenses have a tendency to shorten up and play the short routes and not so much threaten with the deep pass. So even if he's not 100%, he's still of value to the Cowboy offense. So when he breaks that huddle, he's certainly going to be the one that's most respected and probably it's the one that gets the double coverage.
All right, we'll see it all happen Sunday night. You can listen to the game right here. Merrill Reese, Mike Quick will have the call on 97.3 ESPN. The countdown to kickoff starts at 5. Who is better, Mike Quick or Drew Pearson?
Oh, no. So you're getting me there, man. Mike Quick, man, you know. I can't go there. And you got to go with Harold Carmichael and Mike Quick, two of the betters that ever played. And here's the deal. They both should be in the NFL Hall of Fame. How about that? Hood, hood?
How about that?
There you go. All right. Well, we always have fun talking to Drew Pearson as he was kind enough to join us here on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. It's always fun. Eagles, Cowboys, Sunday Night Football. And, Drew, we appreciate your time.
You got me. Thanks for having me, and go Cowboys. Hood, hood.
Yeah, man. Drew Pearson, like all guests, appeared via the Boardwalk Honda Hotline.